Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to my not so live chat. So first of all, I just want to apologize for the technical difficulties. Probably should have done a test run on the Google Hangouts, but I've done them before with my friends. But apparently when I tried to broadcast it live or whatever to the larger audience, it kept saying that my domain was blocking it or something. I don't know, but I didn't have time to investigate. So the next thing I was going to do is just record it on my laptop webcam, because it's fairly easy and I can get it up quickly without doing much editing. But then that kept messing up. It kept aborting my FaceTime feed. So finally I had to set up my webcam. Set up my camera on the tripod. I've got it sitting here right on my desk. So if this setup looks a little janky, that's because this is what it's gonna be. So anyway, welcome to the chat. I've already drank like half my wine trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with my computer. So yeah. But just to let you know, I was prepared. Here are my notes for the live chat, and I'm just going to use that format and pretend that I'm talking to you live. Alright, so the first thing I want to say is thank you to all my new subscribers. We did officially pass 400 subscribers like last week or a week prior to that. And we're still growing. So welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you for all those who have been here since the beginning, and we're going to keep pushing forward into 2016. Okay, so one of the topics, I'm just going to jump right into it. Yeah, we're just going to get into it because I'm getting tired and a little bit annoyed from the technical difficulties, so I want to keep this moving and going. Okay, so one of the first topics that someone posted about they wanted to hear about was accountability, and this came from Kenya. If you're watching, shout out to Kenya. So accountability, and I'll talk about it on a more general level versus just in terms of, and then I'll talk about it in terms of minimalism. But accountability, first of all, is just responsibility. And I think the first responsibility that you have is to show up for yourself. If you cannot be accountable to yourself, then you can't be accountable to anyone else or anything else. So going into 2016, starting tomorrow, forget 2016. You don't have to wait till the new year to kick in on these positive changes, but always make sure that you are showing up for yourself. When it comes to minimalism, I think accountability is going to be a struggle depending on where you are in your journey. At the beginning, it's going to be tough because you're still trying to remove yourself from those emotional attachments to your things. And you're trying to remove yourself from your emotional attachments to those things. And there's also frustration and just doubt about how to do it, when to do it, what to let go of, what to keep. So I think it's okay to give yourself room in the beginning to be, I don't want to say irresponsible or unaccountable, but be kind to yourself and give yourself the space to, make mistakes and maybe hold on to some things that you really need to let go of. But as you progress in your journey, and you get clear about your goals and why minimalism is important to you, that's when that accountability factor will kick in, and that's when you really have to, again, show up for yourself, because this minimalist journey is really about you. It may have an impact on other people in your life, but it's very personal. It starts with you, and it actually leads me into the second thing that Kenya posted about, which was spirituality. Spirituality and values. And I think for me personally, this minimalist journey has been a very spiritual journey, because it just forces you to deal with yourself. And I believe that you encounter the spiritual in whatever you do. I think there's a famous quote that says, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I believe that's true. And I believe going through the process of decluttering and simplifying, clarifying, and really focusing on what is essential, brings that out of you. It forces you to look at those things that you have ignored or you have covered up with stuff, with, unhealthy relationships, with wasting time and focusing on the wrong things in your life. It just really brings you up, and it moves all that stuff out and forces you to deal with the one person that matters and the one person who you need to be accountable to, which is yourself. In terms of core values, I think, or values in general, I think that minimalism definitely helps you figure out what your values are, and particularly what your core values are. And I have a post on my website, which is currently being redone right now, but it's basically called Your Minimal Self, and I talk about figuring out what your core values are in life, and then working within a framework of those core values. It's something that I really learned about when I was going through my coaching training, and it's something that I also do with people that I coach. Is, it's one of the first things that we do is identify your core values, because if you know those, getting rid of everything that you don't need becomes a whole lot easier. And we have like hundreds of values, but it's really important to focus down on your core values. That top 10 or top 5 or top 8 or whatever the number is. I would say no more than 10 though. But it's really important that you focus on those top ones and align your life around those values. And I'll just give you an example of some of my top core values. Freedom, adventure, education, love, knowledge. I can't think of the other 3, but those are at least 5 that I value. So yeah, learning your values is very important to this minimalist journey, particularly if you view it from a spiritualist perspective. Alright, next topic. And this came from a friend and fellow Black minimalist, Adrienne. You can check out her channel on YouTube, Adrienne the Minimalist, and I think I definitely linked her in my video on Black Minimalist on YouTube. She asked about practicing minimalism while living with hoarders. Sounds funny, but it can definitely be frustrating. I have a little bit of experience in this area, not necessarily a hoarder. I wouldn't call my mother a hoarder. She is a collector, though. She collects like crystal knickknacks, stuff like little cutesy things like that. And clothing for sure, and shoes. She has a whole other like haul closet with her shoes in them. And this is an improvement. When you live with people who don't share the same point of view as you, and this goes for minimalists or anything else, first, be the example. And I talk about this in one of my beginning videos. I think it's maybe like 5 things to know about minimalism, or 5 things to know before you start your minimalist journey, or something like that. Anyway, be the example. Don't try to force people to conform to your way of life. Don't even try to show them the benefits, or tell them, or I shouldn't say don't not show, but don't try to tell them the benefits of it or convince them that this is the way to go. Just start by, working on yourself, decluttering, keeping your space clean and organized and minimized, exuding a calm demeanor, being positive and not negative. Show them rather than tell them what minimalism is, and I guarantee you they will start to come around. Like, maybe they will ask for help cleaning up, or maybe you can offer help in a non forceful or judgmental way. Try that. With my mom, we have a different relationship, so I gently force her into doing things. I give her lots of encouragement in getting rid of stuff. Like, if we're going through something, or she's cleaning up or rearranging something, I'll just be like, why don't you get rid of that? But she's my mother, so I can do that. Depending on what relationship you have with these people that you're living with, you have to figure out what that approach is. But I would say, if you don't have that type of relationship with a person where you can just tell them whatever's on your mind whenever, then definitely just try to be the example. And if that doesn't work, and you get to a point where you no longer feel comfortable living in that space, and you do have the means and the ability to move, I would say get out of there, because eventually, even if you try your hardest to maintain your space minimally, the energy from their clutter and hoarding can impact you and how you feel. And you may start to see clutter seep into your space slowly, or subconsciously, into your mind. You may just feel uncomfortable, or I don't know where I'm going. Remember, this is not so live, but you get the gist of it. Marie Kondo. Okay, so I want to address this specifically. I talked about her a little bit in my declutter methods video, and I'll link it in the video. And I've been asked about Marie Kondo several times by different people, if I read the book, if I follow the book, and what are my thoughts on it. I did not read the book, like The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I did listen to the book via YouTube, and took some notes on what I heard and what struck me. I will say this. I think Marie Kondo and the book are great because she really brought awareness to the spaces that we live in, how we treat our things, and how our things affect us. And it definitely, inspired hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people to declutter their spaces, align the energy within their spaces, and get organized. So I think that's a huge positive. And if you want to know more about the Marie Kondo method, I think it's called the KonMari method, because I'm not going to detail it in this video. If you want to know more about it, just go to, just Google it or search it on YouTube, and you can find hundreds of thousands of videos of people talking about this book. You can find the book itself and listen to it like I did. But yeah, I think it's great in those respects that it brought a lot of awareness to decluttering, organizing, and focusing on the energy of the space that you inhabit. I did take a few notes, like I said, while I was listening to it. And one of the things I like that she said is that storage experts are hoarders. And I think that's a bit dramatic, but low key, I definitely understand where she's coming from, because I feel like when I think of just not even the storage experts, but just storage containers that you find in stores, when you buy those things, it encourages you to collect more stuff to fill them up. And I feel like storage and organizing experts perhaps don't focus enough on, or maybe they do, I don't know. I've never employed a storage expert or organizational person, but I just feel like they're more focused on organizing the stuff rather than sometimes getting to the root of why you collected all this stuff in the first place. And people, have asked me about like coming to their house and like helping them declutter and organize, and I'm always reluctant to do that because, for one, I'm not like a psychologist or therapist, and I think if you are going into people's houses, especially people who may be hoarders, and I know some of you watch the show Hoarders on TLC, but if you're going to people's houses that have a lot of stuff and collected a lot of stuff over the years and haven't been able to get rid of it on their own, you're walking into a situation that's beyond the stuff. It's a psychological situation, it's an emotional situation, and I'm not trained to deal with that. And that's the first thing why I would never do it. The second thing why I would never do it is because I would just get rid of everything in your house. Like, I'm a very like hard-nosed person. So if you ask me to come over, you're gonna be mad at me by the time I leave, because I'm gonna question every little thing that you want to keep. And try to dissuade you and try to break your emotional attachment to it, because I'm coming into your house as an objective. I have no emotional attachment to your stuff, and as I grow on my minimalist journey, I have less of an emotional attachment to stuff in general. Really, the only things that I know that I'm emotionally attached to are my technology. So my laptop, my camera, my phone. Not even my phone, because I lost my phone over the summer, and I was like, when it was gone, I didn't even think about it. But I'm attached to my laptop particularly because it just has so much stuff on it that I've created and saved. And it's like, it's my connection to an outside world, like through my business and through my social media platforms. And I've just learned so much by connecting with people through the internet via my laptop that's the one thing that I have an emotional connection to. But I do back up, so if I were ever to lose it or be damaged or something, I could easily restore it. So I guess even that emotional attachment is waning. But yeah, I just don't have any attachment to it. So even if somebody's like crying over some sentimental gift that they got from a relative or something, I'd just be like, do you really need it though? Are you ever going to use that paisley printed ugly dress, or are you just keeping it because you feel guilty? Like, I just have little empathy when I see people attached to things that they have said themselves that they don't need, but they don't want to get rid of it because they have some attachment to it. So yeah, I'm not the right person to do that. So okay. I don't want to keep going on about Marie Kondo because the time is growing late, and I will say this. I agree with her when she says to declutter by categories and she says declutter in one fell swoop. I don't think that's really possible. But you can declutter at least one category in one fell swoop. So I recommend that. I recommend decluttering by categories. The one major critique I think I have of her book is that she says to only keep things that spark joy, and I just don't think that's practical. There are things that we need that don't necessarily spark joy, or even things that we want that don't necessarily spark joy. Like I have t-shirts in my closet. I like them, I like wearing them. But if I looked at my t-shirt and it says, does this spark joy? The answer is no. The things that spark joy for me are not physical things at all. It's reading a book, the feeling you get from reading a book and learning something new, the feeling of connecting with people, laughter, those are the things that spark joy for me. They're really intangible things. So I just don't think you can go through your house and say, I only want to keep things that spark joy. I mean, what about the kitchen or something? Like, is a spatula going to spark joy for you? Like, really? So, that's my critique of the book. But overall, I think it's great and people seem to love it. So more power to you. Okay, so another thing that I was asked about, but I believe it was Jamel, and that was about your social circle and relationships and like friendships. And I've been asked this question by other people as well. This one is a hard one for me to answer because I am going through this currently. And, it's just difficult to see yourself and to see others really, changing and, seeing the distance grow between you. I feel like I'm in a place right now where I have some friends who are on the same mindset in terms of like alternative living, minimalism, entrepreneurship, and just being adventurous with life in general. And then I have other friends who, I've known for a long time. We've grown up together, but beyond our history, I guess, we don't really have, and we have fun when we're together, but beyond our history, we don't really have much in common in terms of the lifestyles that we lead. And I find myself, feeling distant from them. And then I'm also in a place where, like, I want more friends, who share my mindset, and I want to make friends with people, virtually, so people that, aren't necessarily around me physically, but who share my perspective. And that's, one of the reasons why I started this Black minimalist community and just talking about it and bringing the discussion into the forefront of what I'm doing, because, really it's out of a need or want to connect with people who share my mindset, who knows what it's like who knows the Black experience and the minimalist experience, and how those two intersect. So that's where I'm at in terms of my own, personal friends and relationships. I definitely feel, lonely at times and feel like I don't have people, that I can talk to personally. So yeah, this is a struggle for me. I can't give you guys any answers about, how to phase out, unproductive relationships, because I'm struggling with that myself. And Jamel also mentioned about, the saying that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And, I don't even know what to say about that, because one of the people that I spend the most time with is my mother, and, we're on 2 different wavelengths, just in terms of everything. So, yeah, this is definitely a different call topic to discuss, and it's probably the reason why I haven't broached it really in any videos or blog posts, because I just don't know what to tell you guys except for to keep going, and we'll find the answers together. I will say one thing: I've never like cut a person off or like formally ended a relationship with any person. Friendship, I'm meaning. Romantic relationships, yes, but friendships. I guess I'm more passive in that regard, whereas we just gradually stop talking, and we just let that distance grow between us, and we don't, do anything to bridge the gap. So that you're never on bad terms, but you're also not as close as you used to be. That's all I can say about that. But yeah, good luck. If anyone has any ideas about, friendships and minimalism, and how to navigate that, please comment below. One of my goals for 2016 is to enforce or strengthen those friendships that I already have with, people who are on the same, wavelength as I am and have the same outlook on life. So to strengthen those relationships and spend more time with those people, and then also to make new relationships with other Black minimalists and just cool people, creatives, and like I said, people who are just willing to think about life and live life alternatively. And I am planning to have at least one like meetup, because there are a few Black minimalists who live in the DMV area, which is Delaware, it's really DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but I also include Delaware in it because it's only a hop skip away. So yeah, there are a few people around this region that I definitely want to have a meetup with. Maybe sometime in the spring, once we figure out what this winter weather is doing.